Hey everybody, make sure you can hear me. I think this is where the microphone's at. Okay. All right, so if you hear any crunching or weird stuff in the background, it's just my dog. He's eating his lunch or whatever he feels like right now for some reason, of course, when I'm on video, as usual. So I went ahead and did a second reading for Gannon Stauch based on what you guys wanted. The reason why I wanted to do a second one, now, number one is for you, for the supporters. They feel like they want to get more information. Second is the family and Gannon. We know who did it. That's what we do know now, obviously. But we don't know why, where, the series of events, we don't know. All we know is what she was charged with, which is very broad. So everything's been pretty crazy lately. I just want to tell everybody that the media is hyping everything up. Let me just say that very clearly on what's happening with the coronavirus and things like that. If you're if you are in good health, if you are able to get over sicknesses quickly, if you have a decent immune system, if you're not old, if you're not a child, if you're not a baby, if you're not anything like that, just don't freak out. Stop getting things in bulk. There are elderly people who need them. Different hospitality services are suffering right now. I'm thankful that I'm not one of them, but there are plenty of people who are. So let's calm down for a second. I want you to take a deep breath. I understand that people have passed because of this, but I need you to just take a deep breath and realize that you're okay, and that the people around you, just don't touch your face. Do the things that you would do if anyone was sick. And I want everybody should act that way. Clean and act in public as if someone was sick or you were sick. From the first, of course, like I always say, from the first image that I received to the last image that I received, okay? I did receive 6 things, kind of went into detail, but not really, so I'm just gonna, so the first thing were rubber boots. That's the first thing that I actually saw. It looked like maybe gardening boots, but they were heavy duty boots. I guess you would wear if you were gardening or doing something that required you to wear rubber boots. They were very, like, almost too big for that person's foot. Very heavy. A second image, ice cream. Now, I don't know if someone brought up ice cream at any point. I'm not sure. I get a lot of comments and messages, and so I'm not sure. Okay, so let's, and I felt the need to say this after I received this message of ice cream. Remember, I'm just letting Gannon talk. We already know the who in this case. Be respectful of Gannon's pictures, words, etc. This goes for any person, for any case that I've done. You cannot dictate what they want to say in that moment. So there's that. The next image I received, now it was a photo. This goes for any person, for any case that I've done. You cannot dictate what they want to say in that moment. So there's that. The next image I received, now it was a photo. Okay, so it was one single tree, and if I was looking at it, let's say, okay, you can close your eyes, picture it, look at it. There was a tree to the left, and it was a single tree. It looked more bushy on the top, and then I keep looking, and it's like there was a trail, and then it curved. I don't know if it was by the tree where it curved, or if it was a little bit afterward, but it wasn't before. I feel like before it was more of a straight, it was a straight, narrow path, and this path seemed more narrow. It didn't seem like that, like something that a car could drive on. Okay, so more like a walking trail, I would say. Or maybe it was like an off trail that someone made a long time ago and isn't used anymore type thing. It was very, and just weird, and, like a hiking trail. One that you would walk in, and one that was remote from civilization. It seemed very kind of away. Like you had to know that specific spot to be walking there. Next, he showed me a photo of a store. Now, when I say store, I'm very broad. Grocery store, any establishment that sells things, okay? I wanted to say a word, and it sounded like it started with a J. but I can't make it out yet. There is a word that starts with J to this establishment. And I'm sorry, I couldn't elaborate more on that. So I did try to elaborate and go deeper. All I was seeing was J. And I don't know. I don't know if it was the word J or the letter J that was in this establishment, but it has significance. I kind of wanted to just let him flow. I wanted it to flow and flow and flow until there was no more flow, right? You know what I mean? In my eyes, do you know what I mean? Because I know, you know. So the next image, socks. They looked large, like you had to roll them, like a person that put them on, they were too big for them, so they had to kind of roll them up until they fit, if that makes sense. Like they were too big for someone's foot that was putting them on. So rolled up a lot I've seen. So just big socks rolled up, almost like, you know, like in the 80s when they would wear those bobby socks and they were like so rolled up and stuff. It's almost what it reminded me. I'm going to say this. This is something that came to me. It could have been Gannon's words. It could have been spirit, you know. So this is very open, but more about her. So I don't know why, if he gave me that area with the tree and everything to say that's where he was, his body was, because that's what I was focusing on in that moment. And then I kind of let him just talk afterwards. So this is what I received for the 6th message. The panic made her move sloppy. I believe the state of shock and panic she was in will make it hard to remember every detail honestly. And I'm not saying, you know, she's excused for what she did. No. But the panic and the shock that set in whenever this was going on, she may or may not remember every little detail, but it's because of her, not because she was so fast and so panicky. But she was a boiling pot. She liked to be in charge and seen as right when she was wrong. So this goes for in general. This goes for before this happened. She liked for people to believe that she was right when she was wrong, and she knew she was wrong. She liked people on her side, and that's very important for me to say, I feel. She didn't have anybody on her side anymore when it came to this. She's breaking. So she's breaking now. She liked to be in charge and seen as right when she was wrong, but when no one was on her side as usual, she started to break. So it's coming. Whatever information she has, she's going to say eventually. But right now, she's still in a state of shock and panic, and she may just be blabbering. So some of it may be true, some of it may be not true. I think she still may be trying to save herself at the same time. So she may hold information back for a little while, but even in like the interview, she was very adamant on, they wouldn't give me water, they wouldn't give me this, they wouldn't give me that. So after she's getting deprived so much, I think she's gonna break. And that's all I received. And it happened to be her, the last message happened to be about her and the talking about how this was gonna happen somehow, some way. She was a boiling pot anyway. And that may be from Gannon letting me know that, but it sounded very mature. Too mature for Gannon to say. So it may be spirit contacting me and letting me know that. But thank you for listening. I wanted to make it shorter, sweet. But I've been very, very busy, so I'm sorry that I haven't been able to kind of keep, you know, consistency with this, but this is really for Gannon. This is for the family. This is for the supporters that want to know a little more. Remember that things that I get are always significant. However they are, they're significant in some way. Okay, so think about what I said. Now, I don't see all the comments, all the, oh, well, this was at the scene, or and I don't know if it's factual or not. I don't know what you're saying is factual. I don't read anything that is factual unless I see it with my own eyes. I haven't seen anything with my own eyes regarding like the rubber boots or the socks, like in a statement or anything like that yet. So I don't know those facts. What I do know is what I'm getting. So remember what I said. Let me know if anything resonates. The people that are looking for Gannon, that are actively looking for him, that are in Colorado, let me know if anything resonates with you, and I will go deeper into it. If you are specifically looking and you see something, message me, that type of thing, so we can get something. Because like I said, it's all the time in my readings, like I say all the time, it's like I'm talking to somebody but no one's on the other end for someone to say, oh yeah, that makes sense, let's go into that deeper, this is why that makes sense. So I just let them talk, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's it. All right, you guys have a great day. I'm sorry a lot of you guys are feeling sick, and I'm very deeply sorry if anybody lost anybody because of this virus. I feel for Gannon's mother a lot, and the father a lot, is what I'm telling you. They are very hurt. His father feels like it's his fault. He was feeling blame, you know, that type of thing, of course, which anybody would as a father or a mother, and I understand that, but it's not. That's not your fault. You didn't have anything to do with that, and you don't. Sometimes people don't know others, and that's not your fault either. You loved purely, and you try to do good by your family, and that's not your fault. It's a good thing. Some things bad things happen to good people. So just remember that people support you, and you and Gannon's mother. And I'm sorry I don't know her name right now, but they support you, and we all love you, and everything's gonna be okay. And I know that it hurts, but everything's gonna be okay. Okay, bye guys.